I the asshole for refusing to eat knowing my mother-in-law will not eat if I don't and causing her to faint? We currently live with my husband's mom and she does a lot for us. I truly appreciate that because we got ourselves into a financial rut. Mother-in-law is a hardcore perfectionist who always has to be the best at everything to the point where it's completely toxic. She was taught growing up to never eat if someone else isn't, and as a teen that spiraled into never being the only woman eating. It was ingrained in her by her very overweight mother to never let anyone think she was a pig. Not surprisingly, mother-in-law and her sister both have serious issues with food. This is insane, obviously, but she's also an ER doctor who doesn't work normal hours, so this makes it even worse. And recently, the hours have been crazy.
The baby. I have a twin brother, Mark, and even though I came into the world 5 minutes after he did, I was always miles ahead of him. By the time he'd learned to roll over, I was crawling everywhere. He was just making spit bubbles when I spoke my first words. But for some reason, Mom and Dad were so proud of everything he did, and I just seemed to get on their nerves. Once, when we were playing with our toys, Mark picked up a mini train excitedly.
Look, Dada, it's a choo-choo. It's not a choo-choo, Mark. It's a train.
Oh, be quiet. He's so cute when he talks like that. I don't know why you speak like an annoying teenager already. On our 4th birthday, I only got stupid dolls, while my brother got a super cool toy airplane. He just ripped the box open and started pushing the buttons like a maniac. I picked up the menu.
Storytime. So there was this one girl in 7th grade. Let's call her Lexi. Lexi was a pick-me girl. She was always like, boys are less drama, you know. And Lexi used to sit next to me in class. And I was throwing a Halloween party later this week. I decided to write a list of what we're going to be doing at the party in class while Lexi's sitting next to me. She looks over at my notebook and sees it. And she was like, I'm invited, right? I looked at her and I just didn't say anything because I didn't want to tell her she's not. She got really excited and was like, I'm going to be wearing a devil costume. Actually, no, I want to be the angel. And at the end of class, she told me to send her the location and information on her Instagram. And I remembered that Lexi had a lot of spam accounts and accounts she doesn't use. So I decided to send her the information on one of the accounts she doesn't use. 2 days later, Lexi...
So beyond done, I went back home immediately after the party and ordered a Tesla Model X for myself, exactly to the specifications he has described. So a couple of weeks ago, I picked up my car and brought it home. I didn't tell a single soul in my family I bought it. But yesterday, I had plans to pick up my cousin's older son to babysit, and I knew it was finally time. I rolled up to my cousin's house in my shiny new Tesla that I washed and polished just that morning specifically for this meetup. Needless to say, cousin was pissed. He asked me all about it with strange enthusiasm and got visibly more angry the more he noticed it was just like the one he wanted. So, in what I would assume was retaliation, he tried to make a comment about, wow, it must have been an adventure and a half to find a bank willing to give you a loan like this. I laughed him off and casually told him I wouldn't know since I paid in cash, which is true. He questioned me, so I pulled up a picture on my phone of the title with my name on it. I think that was what broke him because he quickly ended the conversation and went back inside. But now I've been getting messages from his siblings saying how I'm a petty bitch. Even my mom said that she thought he was an ass, but I shouldn't have escalated just because I could. And while I adore... Am I the asshole for buying my cousin's dream car to prove a point? I, 26-year-old female, work a corporate job at a major fast food chain. I won't say the exact title, but I don't work at an office and spend most of my time visiting and coaching stores and associates. Because of this, my family seems to be under the impression that my job is a loser job, despite me making well over $150,000 a year. I think this perception is exasperated by the fact that I'm a frugal person who doesn't tend to surround myself with expensive things. My cousin, 34-year-old male, is a physics professor at a nearby state university and has done very little to hide the fact that he looks down on my job. From what I understand, we make similar money, but he's still paying off his doctorate degree. I didn't go to college. He has a much bigger house and mortgage and 2 kids. I'm child-free, meaning I have much more disposable income than him. For nearly 2 years, he's been talking about how he really wants a Tesla Model X and how he's slowly saving money for it. He'll joke about how much he wants it by describing how he sees it in his dreams in exquisite detail. Well, several months back while we were at my aunt's birthday party, my cousin made yet another backhanded joke about
I didn't like to use my phone alarm to wake me up. I don't know why. I use it now, but I would use like an actual alarm clock. And so my first day of school, I used both an alarm clock and my phone alarm, like just in case to make sure it would work. And then it did work. So I was like, okay, cool. So then my second day of school, I like didn't use the alarm clock. Or no, I didn't use my phone alarm. I just used the alarm clock and it didn't wake me up. And I was low power mode, but I woke up and it was like 30 minutes before my class was going to start. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to be late. And so I hop out of bed. I like quickly like put on my clothes. I like run out and I like go to the bus stop because I had to take a bus to get to my school. And then I call up my mom, and I'm like crying on the phone because I was like, Mom, like I'm late for school, and it was my American Sign Language class, and I was like, and it's heavy attendance graded, and also like my teacher was deaf, and so we only signed in class, you know, to be respectful of her, to be respectful of deaf culture. But I didn't know American Sign Language yet, so I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And my mom was like, just write her a note, just write her a note. And I was like, okay. So I like write a note like while I'm in the bus. Finally, we get to school. I like run off the bus, and because I'm running, I like completely trip.
I, 35-year-old female, threw away old photos of my husband, 44 male, with his late wife years ago. He just found out and he hates me for it. I met my husband 4 years ago and it was love at first sight. He was a widow and he had a daughter who is now 17. It was tough to deal with, I won't lie, but I wanted to be with him so badly that it didn't matter. We got married 2 years ago and we've had our struggles, I won't deny, but overall it was a very happy, love-filled marriage. At the beginning of our relationship, I was really jealous of his late wife. He had pictures of her around his home, his family loved her and talked about her all the time. It was tough. I was constantly comparing myself to her. She was beautiful, intelligent, and successful. She was a great mother, friend, wife, whatever you can think of. I did speak to my then boyfriend about these feelings, and he even took down some of the pictures later on in our relationship. Still, his house never felt like my home, as it felt like it was still hers. When we got engaged, we decided we would buy our own home and we moved in right before we got married. During the moving process, I found box after box of old photos and other materials. Photos of his ex, family photos, photos of them together, baby photos, everything. Some of these were even Polaroids.
Am I the asshole for waxing my 5-year-old daughter's unibrow? So my 5-year-old has a pretty thick dark unibrow that is very noticeable. Because of COVID, her preschool was online, therefore she was never bullied for having it. However, this past summer, her cousins came over to visit and many of them teased her for her unibrow. They'd call her countless names, and at just 5 years old, my daughter already thinks she is ugly. It breaks my heart because nobody, let alone a 5-year-old, should think they are ugly. I reassure my daughter she's beautiful and not to listen to her cousins, but my daughter still believes she is ugly. In a week, she is starting kindergarten, and I really do not want the bullying to get worse there. So yesterday, I took it in my hands to wax her unibrow. I didn't shape them or anything, just waxed the middle off to get rid of her unibrow. My daughter was elated, looking in the mirror and calling herself so pretty. It warmed my heart to see her so confident in herself, but I made sure to remind her she was beautiful both ways. When my husband came home, my daughter was so excited to show him her eyebrows. In front of her, he called her beautiful, but after she left, we had a huge fight. He said it was horrible of me to be subjecting my 5-year-old daughter to beauty standards. And at such a young age, I'm pushing it on her instead of telling her she is beautiful the way she is. And no 5-year-old.
Am I the asshole for giving my soon-to-be ex-husband an ultimatum in regards to custody? Look, I know the title already sounds bad, but hear me out. A little background. Me, 32 female, and my husband, 32 male, are currently separated and currently work in different cities. He's in New York and I'm in Massachusetts. We have 2 kids together, an 8-year-old boy and 5-year-old girl. Some of my family has a mild to extreme allergy to cannabis. Both of my kids are allergic, but my son's is anaphylactic severe, medically tested. My husband and his new girlfriend are staying together because she lost her job and apartment. I am pregnant. It happened pre-separation and I found out after. So what happened is that my husband has a new girlfriend, 28-year-old female, and she's a long-time stoner. He has explained our kids' allergies to her and how she can't smoke when the kids are with him. After arguing, she decided that when the kids are with him, she'll stick to edibles, so it's less likely they'll breathe it in. The only thing is, she believes that we are making up their weed allergy. She's extremely convinced that I'm anti-weed and I'm trying to convince my kids that they are allergic so that they never try it. A couple of weeks back, the kids were at his house and he was at work, so his girlfriend was watching them.